I got inspired when I was visiting a friend in the Bay Area. He's one of the biggest Ferrari collectors in the world. He was telling me about the Ferraris that he owns, and there's only about 500 to ever exist. Not everyone gets to buy one. You just get a package in the mail from Ferrari, and it's this wooden box. You open it, and there's a Ferrari key in there. How can we replicate that same sort of system and experience where we deliver a key to one of our collectors? We have NFTs, and we have a very accurate, real-time read on who all of our collectors are and all the things that they own. How can we use this as the backbone of a system where we can then provide them more experiences over time?
How do we make people actually feel proud of what they own?
We are starting to have some conversations around, okay, how would you even think about building a system like this? Like, what does it even do? How would you structure it? And very importantly, how do you actually think about like building a rating system behind this? Like, what's the purpose? And
being able to take all these things on the blockchain and relate them all together and like create this feeling of these amazing assets that you're attached to and like this feeling of achievement for owning them. I feel like that's really important.
This should be a page where you would be proud to like show it to like your friend or something, like, yo, check out my collection.
You have the badges, collector status, right here under your name, the emblems.
I think when thinking about emblems, it's supposed to kind of inspire that like Pokemon feeling, you know, when you first play like Pokemon Blue or Red. I don't know if the pride factor in like collecting the thing. And
in terms of actual just collecting emblems, it's very simple. Do any of your owned NFTs own a trait that qualifies you for a particular emblem? We mapped emblems on your collector's profile to your collector score.
What we've done to reward holders in the past is we did a fun drop for frog emblem holders. We dropped everyone a little bit of Pepe. Rewarded the spirit emblem holders with the Azuki and Satoshi Nakamoto collab hoodie. Beans hoarder emblem, we gave everyone a free Gus vinyl figurine collectible. Every Azuki got 2 beans and then got a free elemental airdrop as well. So the whole concept is, depending on your collection and your emblems, there's ways for us to continually engage and reward these collectors on an ongoing basis.
There's another component to each collector's profile outside of the emblem system, which is the badge system. The way you qualify is it's usually not tied to NFT ownership, but it's more tied to activities that you take to participate in Azuki culture. For example, we have a badge for when Bobu went to space. I think anyone who voted for a certain initiative or proposal at that time received a Bobu badge. We have other badges for participating in community memes, etc., that aren't tied to actually owning an NFT. People who may not want to spend that much on assets can still participate in the ecosystem and feel rewarded. But the challenging part of the collector score in general is mapping traits to a point value.
And so we ended up spending an insane amount of time just scoring traits, looking at trade history, looking at trade volume, understanding like what premiums people paid for what.
The collector status and different tiers that you can obtain. So it starts off as esteemed, and it goes up to grand, and the level after that is legend. And then if you're top 50 out of the entire collector base within the Azuki community, then you are part of the order.
So basically there's a part that everybody sees, and then there's a part that like our servers are like doing in the background. There's something that happens in the background that changes data. Our computers get that info on the blockchain, and then it'll recalculate your score, and then it shows up for everybody to see. I do all the back stuff, the calculating stuff, like getting info from the blockchain on the fly or tracking elemental reveals and all that. And then like Jojo did all the front end stuff.
So basically the front end and back end communicate through APIs. So for example, if there's an API to get one collector's whole collection of NFTs, we would specify, oh, like this takes in their user address, and then it spits out like all of their NFTs. So that way, the client, which is like the front end side, knows what to show on the collector profile.
Everyone remembers those binders where you had like your Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I think a great experience would be tailored around like how you would want to present and flex your collection, how it can act as like a representation of your identity or digital identity. It's the core of everything.
Another example of a fun and creative thing we did on Collector Profile is for the Vegas event, we dropped everyone that was attending Vegas tickets that show their Azuki as a playing card. If you own a golden skateboard PBT, your collector profile's banner actually changes to your Azuki holding that golden skateboard. Our artist actually drew the entire dragon, like a huge art piece of the dragon with your Azuki. So for both the desktop and mobile experiences, you can see the full dragon.
All that together makes up the collector system where, one, it's a great way to view your collection, but also two, it's also a representation of the tokens that are underlying the art. So when people think of NFTs, they think about primarily just the art, right? It's just, it's just a JPEG.
No, you're not actually just collecting a static asset. It could turn into something. Like there's a team behind it. They're doing something with this IP.
There's so many more possibilities when you look at the token for what it is and not just the art.
And if we were to simplify Azuki collecting into just like a fixed amount of tiers or into just like single vectors on like certain scales, it would really destroy the thing that people loved the most about Azuki, which was how much depth there was to the collection. And that was kind of one of the big goals. Preserve the depth of the collection, reward the depth of the collection. I really think that Azuki as a collection, elementals and beans as well, are probably some of the only ones that have done that. What we all ended up building fundamentally was a way to, again, bring like this idea of like structure and logic to something that inherently is extremely difficult to justify and to quantify, which is this idea of collecting, plus now setting a foundation for us to then build a structure for rewards in the future.